Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are out here in the pole barn shop, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna work on the wagon. So in the last video of the 550, you heard me talking about Underglow. So today, that's what we're installing. I picked up this Underglow kit from Op 7 Lighting. I think it was $100. And we're gonna install it here on the 85 Pontiac 6000 wagon with the supercharged V6. So the reason that I'm doing Underglow on this car is because I went to high school in the late 90s, graduated in 99. It was kind of the cool stuff back then and I always wanted to do it. So here I am now, it's 2005. I am 40, whatever, 43? Something like that. And perfect car to do it on. My first car was an 89 Buick Century, so basically the same car.
How neat is that?
Just not a station wagon. Which is probably why I didn't have kids till I was in my 30s, thankfully.
That's what she said.
Anyway, yeah, we're gonna put this on this car. So I think our first step here is going to be get the car up in the air to where we can get underneath it to do that. And then we'll open this box that's been sitting here far too long and we will get it installed. See what's in here probably first before we install it. So let's get the car up in the air. And here we are underneath it. Got to get my lights set up. Can you tell that I have gone over some speed bumps and it sits kind of low? Yeah, it's all right. So I was gonna wash this thing before we did this, but it is February and it is Michigan, so it is winter outside. So by the time we get back, it'll be trashed underneath again anyway. Had to use this a couple weeks ago to yank a car around the yard that didn't run. So yeah, it threw some rooster tails of snow and mud. These tires, are as cheap as they were and as summer performance as they look, they're really digging the snow and the mud pretty good. To the point where I'm kind of nervous what the yard's gonna look like when the snow melts. Yeah, that'll be great. All right, so let's get this open. This is by Op 7. It's the Aura Underglow LED bar with door assist, whatever that means. We're just gonna wire it up to a switch. What do we have in here? So, these are all of the light bars separated here. All right, two longer ones here. These are two-piece, so they fold out, so they're longer. These are for the sides. There's two of those. And then the shorter ones are for the front and back. When I say shorter, I mean, you know, only mildly shorter. That's okay. It's okay. Then we have the controller box, sound activation. Well, I don't really care about that. So we'll probably mount this somewhere in the engine compartment. Don't think I'm gonna be able to run all these wires in the car. I really don't want to burn a whole bunch of giant holes in the car. Drill the smallest little pilot hole. So there's the control box. This is the power cable for it. This, you know, hooks into here. And then this goes to power and ground. This is your main power for it. Got a bunch of fastening clips, a bunch more fastening clips. Got the old remote control. Got a bunch of zip ties. And then, you know, you can do some feedbacks and find some repair instructions or installation instructions. I don't know, there it tells you how to install it, but we'll just wing it. Okay? That's what I do most of the time. We'll just wing it. It'll be okay. Don't be scared. It'll work. Or it won't. Ah, plastic. All right, so $100. This is what you get. So we'll get the light set up under the car. as you can see what we're doing, get you guys kind of mounted under there. I guess we'll just start going for it. Got to figure out where to mount this stuff. All right, so we got the light going under the car. Here's all the mud I was talking about. And I did decide to look at the repair instructions, or installation instructions. And it says that box that controls it is not waterproof, so it's got to be mounted inside the car.
That's pretty neat.
So I was going to mount that outside the car. Kind of glad I read that. So this has got to go in the car. Maybe I'll put this up under the dash by where the computer is. And yeah, I think maybe I can get this stuff in kind of through where I put the computer wiring. Could probably pick up power for these in there too. So we'll go ahead and get these light bars installed on the car, and then hope we have enough wiring to reach where we need to reach. All right, let's get on that. All right, got my headlamp on here. Old Delphi sent me these a while ago. I've been using them on and off. I like them. They work pretty good. So here we are at the back of the car. This is a short one. I was going to mount it up to this bumper bar, kind of like this, along the back, and then I wanted to make sure the wiring was long enough to reach all the way back to the front. As you can see here, I got to fix the trailer hitch where it bolts onto the bumper bar as well. All right, so something kind of like that over here. Add another screw. Where did I put that? What in the world? Where did I put the other screw? I've lost a screw. All right, so it's gonna be like this back here. Just gotta find the other screw for this side. And then we gotta figure out how to fasten the wiring so it doesn't melt on the exhaust or get tangled in an axle, because that would not be good either. Where did I put that screw? In my pocket. Well, what in the world? It's not on the ground. I literally just had that screw. Where did it go? Let me get another one. All right. Found another screw. So I'll get this up here. Like that. And I can put a zip tie here in the middle of this trailer hitch to kind of support it in the middle. All right, so there's a screw in this end. There's a screw in this end, and it goes up over the trailer hitch. But I could loosen those screws, kind of push it this way, and then it'll kind of rest on top of the trailer hitch piece there, which then if I fix the trailer hitch, it'll get pinched. Or I could just run a zip tie around it there, or I could just leave it like this and let it chafe. I think we'll go with the leave it like that and let it chafe. So now we are left with all this wiring, and we've got to make it all the way to the front of the car. Trying to think of what would be the best way. I wonder, a little bit of rust, you'll get that. I kind of wonder if I could go in the end of the frame rail up here, run it through and run it out this hole here, or if I could run it all the way down. No, I can't run it all the way down because that's closed up. I take it out here and kind of run it over here somehow where it stays away from the exhaust and doesn't melt, and away from the spring so it doesn't get squashed. Because then we could run it down with the brake lines and fuel lines. Yeah, let me mess with this and see what I can do. Okay, so I got it run. Obviously, this is mounted back here. Wire went up along the frame rail here. Probably put another zip tie there. Goes into the frame rail, back out through here. Goes out on the other side, down here, and then it just follows the fuel lines all the way to the front. If we come up here, up in there, not that you can see it, is where the wiring goes through for the engine. All the wiring for the engine, I'm going to pop that back out and run all 4 of these wires through. Gonna get the side ones both installed, and I can run the wiring up here along these brake lines along under the subframe to get it up to where it needs to go. Same thing with the front one. It can get mounted, the wiring can come back through the subframe up to this side, and obviously the one that goes along this side will be right over here. So we'll get those mounted, we can get the wiring all into the car, and then everything else we do will be inside the car. So let me get the rest of these kind of mounted. Let's see where we could put the side ones. All right, so again, longer ones for the side. And here, there's a nice little lip here in the rocker, and I think these will fit. And they'll be tucked away where you can't see them if I mount them just like this. I think if I put them like that, they're about centered in the car, and they'll be up in here far enough where they'll be protected and you won't be able to see them with the car on the ground. Need some screws. So I have these little mounts that came with them. I'm going to try to use, but it's cold and my fingers don't work. Golly. Drill the smallest little pilot hole. I'm going to break the drill bit by pushing too hard on it. All right, let's try this again. The screws for these tiny little clips were never going to work with my drill. So that's why I did a little pilot hole. Put them in like that. There's those. Oh, now. Then we'll put screw in either end and be good. Kind of like that. All right, that one's mounted like that, and you won't be able to see it when you're back here. As you can see, this is indented, so it sits up in there. And the wiring is long enough to reach where we need it to. All right, let me get the other two mounted, and then we'll run the wiring in the car, and then we'll get going. We'll be done. We'll wire it. I'll mount the box, wire it, and then we'll be done. I'm cold. All right, front one's installed. I used a couple of the zip tie mounts. I got this side one here installed. A couple mounts here in the middle. Then I ran the wiring along the brake lines, over the subframe, along the brake lines here. Obviously we did the back one, we did this side one. Those are run down the brake lines. Collectively, all four are right here. So now we just have to get up in here. The bulkhead is over in this corner. We just got to run these 4 wires through that bulkhead, which I think doing that through the engine bay might be the better way to do it. I think I can get to it from the engine bay, maybe a little bit inside the car if I push it out. Basically, I had to push that plastic connector out of the firewall, open it up a little bit, get these 4 wires into it, and then I can snap it back in the firewall. Kind of like pinches the wires down kind of when it goes into the firewall, but it'll work. So let me get these run into the car, and then we'll mount the box, wire power and everything to it, and be good to go. All right, so here we are up in the engine bay. Got all 4 wires run up here. That connector is down there underneath kind of the alternator, blower motor area. I've got it pulled out and separated, so I'm going to take these wires and jam them on through it, and then snap that back together, snap it back into the firewall. And then we'll be on to the inside of the car where we can take all that stuff apart. But there is power and ground and everything underneath there. So I'm pretty sure we can just tap into that stuff for this and be good to go. So let me get this into the inside, and then I'll catch back up with you on the inside of the car. All right, so I found a good spot to see that connector right there. You can see it going through the firewall. So I have all of them in the interior. Let me get the car off of the lift, back it up a little bit so we can open the door all the way, and we'll get to wiring these underneath. I did do some looking. These wires right here are for if you want it to work, like come on with your dome lights or whatever. This is the main power one that we're gonna hook up, and I can turn it on and off with the remote. I don't really care if it turns on and off with the dome lights, kind of don't want that actually. So we're gonna wire in just power and ground, be able to turn it on and off with the remote. That's all we really need. All right guys, here we are under the dash. I've got the trim panel removed. Here's the computer for the engine swap. There's where all the wiring comes through. Here's our 4 wires for our Underglow kit. Right here's the control box. I kept the wiring on it for the dome light stuff because who knows, maybe I'll use it someday. And this is the power wire, so we gotta hook this one to a ground, which there's a ground right here. And then power, right here is the cigarette lighter. We're gonna go to that for power. So let me do that, and then we'll see how this works. All right, the brain box is down here. Got it wired in, went to the ground that's right here. Spliced it in the cigarette lighter under here, and it is working. And it is totally ridiculous. And I totally love it. I feel like I'm 16, 17 years old all over again. So let me put this kick panel piece back on underneath the dash, put my tools away, and we'll get this thing kind of backed up, and we can look at how ridiculously cool it is. Right, well there you go. I think with the remote I can change it. Yep, and have it just be green or red, blue, whatever color you would like it to be. And turn off the light so we can really see it. There you go. I don't know, I think it's cool. What do I know? All right, well I can pull it outside in the snow if I don't fall on my butt here first. And we can see what it looks like outside. I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. Perfect car for it. It's because this whole car is kind of a ridiculous idea of mine to do the engine swap and whatnot on something like this. Engine swap, for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's a supercharged 3.8 3800. I think this one was out of a 97 Grand Prix. Smaller pulley, colder intake, whatever. Tune, blah, blah, blah. It's fun to drive. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this outside. We'll take a couple shots of it and be done, because it is freezing cold. Gonna kind of finish it off there, I guess. Thanks for watching this one. If you enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me what you think. If you think it's ridiculous, think it's awesome, think it's stupid, whatever. Make sure you subscribe. We have more stuff to do to this car. Got some big plans here this year. Thinking Hot Rod Power Tour, but we're gonna take this, and I don't think we're gonna use hotel rooms. Yeah, anyway, I'm cold. I can't think. Not that I could anyway, but thanks for watching, guys. I will see you on the next video. Take care.